Okay, hopefully that should be working. So if anyone was watching my stream on Friday, I was going to do Tetris, but as someone pointed out, e-paper's a bit slow for Tetris, and it took me so long to get the screen working, I didn't actually implement any Tetris code, and then I was thinking over the weekend, why don't I do like the OG Wordle, like before Wordle blew up and became a thing that everyone's going to associate it with being Wordle. It was called Mastermind, and the idea was that you were someone like picked a sequence of, I think the original board game had colors, but like whenever I played it was numbers, and then you basically guessed a sequence of numbers, and then they told you if the numbers were correct and in the sequence, like correct and in the right place, and correct and not in the right place or not in the sequence at all. And then from there you had to like add so many guesses to try and work it out. And the reason I'm calling it Wordle but harder is because Wordle's only got like 10,000 words that it could possibly be, which if we do some quick math, I think it's 5 little words. So if we go like 26 to the power of 5, there's 11 million combinations of letters that you could do, but they only use like 10,000 of them. So like, and the fact that it's structured means that like you can guess words with common sequences, like ing. It's like, well, lots of words end in ing, so it really cuts down how many words it can be if you remove ing from your selection pool. Whereas if we do 5 letters, I'm gonna have 16 because I've got a 16 selector, and the idea is minimal power usage. So being able to like select what number you want and then press a button to submit it is better. And I'm gonna do like 4 numbers that are up to 16 because yeah. So if we go 16 to the power 5, mine will have a million possible combinations. So in theory, it's significantly harder because you can't eliminate sequences. Like I think Wordle's like a solved game, if I remember correctly, in that there's like literally a sequence of words that you can guess that will 100% solve Wordle every single time, because of the fact that there's 10,000 words, and like there's a specific word you'd always start with because it eliminates the most other words, like, algorithmically, basically. So this won't have that because there's obviously like there'd be an ideal sequence to guess, but in theory every number is equally as likely as any other number, so guessing a specific sequence because it's more likely to eliminate a bunch of other numbers is not really a thing, which may mean I need to give you way more guesses because you're obviously like you've got 16 shots, so you've got a 5 and 16 getting one of the numbers. Like at least like narrowing it down to at least one of the numbers, and then you see each guess. I'll have to work out like exactly how many guesses you get. But the idea is that it should be playable at the really low frame rate that e-paper can do, while still actually being a game rather than just like a clock or something. So all I managed to write in terms of getting the screen working was just like a bit of code that draws a border around the outside, and I still can't work out why it's not really working properly. It's drawing like the checkerboard that I want, but then on one side it's still got a solid line, which I have no idea where that's coming from. So it's going to be forgotten for now as we go to work on other numbers. So I have some things I need to test with the e-paper. Like I think I've found out how to do partial refreshers, but I really can't work this stuff out. It's not entirely clear, and I don't know if the library I'm using, which I had to like completely copy paste into my own thing so I could change like the size of the screen and stuff like that. I don't know if it supports partial refreshing because it doesn't. I had to like find out how to do it, which is not clear in the e-paper, and it didn't have. I've added update frame, which calls display mode 2, which from what I understand is only update things that have changed, and then there's display mode 1, which is refresh the whole page. They only have this one. I've added this one. I don't know if it works yet. I haven't had a chance to test it, but we will actually go implement some code to render. I want to say like maybe the lines to separate the 5 columns, but you don't really need those in the sense that I'm just going to be rendering blocks. I'm going to use the 3 colors basically to represent a correct and incorrect guess. I may have to come up with some kind of way of just like brute forcing it with the buttons that I have, in the sense that I can't draw to the screen what you're doing because the paper's too slow for that. So the idea will be you set the dial and you press submit, and then you set the dial and you press submit 5 times, and then when you submit the 5th number, then it does the refresh the screen with the results. So it's going to be hard to visualize that with a I don't have the dial set up, which means I can't actually manually input values. I'll have to like program it. Maybe I can just sequentially press a different button that I have. Just check how I put these buttons right up. So that one's wired there, and then I'm going to wire the other button across to... I assume I can just go one lower. Now, at the moment, I have what's referred to as a refresh button, which is a button, but it's going to be changed to a submit button, I guess. The idea being that the Bevy only runs an update every how do I phrase it? Like every we'll just drop the frame rate down and then oh yeah, no. So to preserve even more power, I've got it set up that Bevy doesn't automatically start the next frame. It waits for you to press the next frame button, which won't work for inputs because it'll work like when you're setting a dial and hit submit, so I'll bring it back. But the idea is that it won't work for my testing because I want to be able to press a button, and if Bevy's not detecting anything, then it's not going to notice that I'm pressing the button. Okay, I don't remember where I put any of this code. So in main, we call run and then update. So we run the first update, and then we're going to just re-enable this ticker. We're going to say don't care about power consumption for the moment. I'm going to say you also don't get this pin, but we'll have to still pass it the pin, but we'll just change what the pin is. And I think it's, let's go with 33 milliseconds, so it's 30 FPS. Should be able to detect basically every button press. I don't know if the rising or falling edge is going to work that particularly well, but I think this is old code, but yeah, we don't use this, so, and the toggle LED can stay. So the idea being that instead of passing in the pin that I've got set up, because I'm just not going to use the pin, I'm going to ignore it. So frame pin 2. So I need to keep the frame pin. And then I'm assuming if I bring up the next pin down is pin 3. So if we set pin 3, this can be my next pin. So this is going to be, we'll set the frame pin to pin 4 so that like it doesn't interfere with anything, but I can leave it set up without having to like remove a bunch of code. So pull up, yep. So this is not frame pin, this is we call it submit pin, and then this pin is the next underscore pin, which is going to be really confusing in that I'm not going to know what number it is because there's going to be no feedback to me while I'm programming it to what exactly I've selected. So it's only when you hit submit will you actually see what number you selected. So we're going to need to make like a resource being like, this should also actually be in the game. So I need to pass these pins in somehow. So we're going to have to get a game, maybe the game plugin, and inside the game plugin we're just going to give it like a we need a submit pin, and that's going to be an input. Input. Okay, like so, and then we need a next pin, which is also an input. And I'm hoping that these will just not yell at me about a lifetime because they should just assume static. So then when we call build, we can okay, so we can just set up a resource that's going to represent like the game state. So we need to drive resource. So this is going to be hello S3B0SP. Oh, everyone with their names. It's not like my name's any better, but pub struct. No, it's just struct. So this is going to be the winning struct. Winning win. So this is going to be, I guess, place. We'll just make it numbers, and it's going to be a U8 by 4. There's the no U8 by 5. There's the 5 numbers that we're going to be winning against. I don't know you. So they're the winning numbers. These do need lifetimes. Okay. It's and then we go to static. I don't know why my stream says it's cut out. That's not good. Oh, hopefully it's still working. Says the connection is poor, but everything on my own says it's green. So I don't know. It's lost 4% of its frames. Weird. All right. Anyway, so we need to pick the winning numbers. We need a derive resource. So this is going to be struct yeah, I guess we'll call this the input, and then this is going to have yeah, we can have submit next. We might need a state, but I'm not sure. I might call that as a separate thing. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. And current, which is going to be an array of U8 by 5, which is like the current guess. So must you refine? No. So okay, struct is going to be player input, I guess. Yelling at me because there's input up here, a button. So this is going to take our 2 buttons and our current, and so basically it'll run every frame to check to see if the player is doing something. I don't know if I can check to see if they've been pressed. Like I don't know if it has debouncing built in, but we'll find out. So we need to use RNG. Do we have an RNG? I think so. Rand. Drive default features, small rand. Okay. So when we start the game, we need to go like let win equal well, yeah, but except we need to say like let RNG equals rand RNG small rand from entropy. I don't know if this is actually going to work. Are we going to have like a consistently seeded run? Because how does it generate entropy? Okay, from RNG. No. Okay. Default. How do I get a new small RNG? Do you have like a thing that explains how do I from entropy creates a small chip? Initialize fast RNG from a random seed. The random seed is simple by the operating system. Yes, except I don't have an operating system. Okay. Yes, but can I call thread RNG? I don't think so. I don't think I can go rand thread RNG. Yeah, because we don't have access to maybe using a preload. Oh. Yeah, so I think we can't use thread RNG. Okay, fine. So I need to somehow generate this based on small RNG from, I guess we have to go like from seed, and we have to call like embassy time instant now dot as micros millions micros. Does it go smaller? Micros? Okay. As it's already a U64, so I don't need that. Can I say from seed from U64? There you go. Okay, is that going to work? Cool. So let's just hope that it doesn't say exactly the same number of microseconds, which it might, because again, it's so slow and deterministic that the odds are that it's going to take exactly the same length of, like, this exact same number of cycles to get to here. So the hope is that maybe the fluctuations in temperature will mean that it'll get here at a different time, but otherwise the winning numbers are going to be the same every time, which will be fine for what I've got planned, but it'd be nice to actually come up with a good RNG. So we need to just call it gen, maybe? Yeah, I think that. Oh, you don't like that. Let's update to the new rand that actually uses the proper stuff. They changed in Rust they reserved the gen keyword, so it's like rand had to go change everything because it reserved the keyword, so rand couldn't use it. So they changed all the names to like generate or something like that. So it's not, it's random. So it's called random. Okay, cool. So we just need to call random, well, no, we need a range. Random range between 0 and 16. And then we just do that 5 times. There's probably a better way of doing that. I think there's a way to like generate an array. The other thought is just generate a I think we'll use 16. Are you 32? Would that fit? Yeah, it should do. 4 times 5, 20. You need 20 bits to represent it, so we could actually store it in like generate a U16 below to the 20. Anyway, there's the winning number, so we're going to go app.insert resource win, and then app.insert resource player input, which is then going to be self.submit pin, self.next pin, and then current we actually want to be something more like 16 to the 5, because 16 to the 5 implies that you haven't imprinted A yet, because then otherwise I'd have to save options and that can get confusing. Cannot be moved. It's hard to show reference. Oh, it doesn't get a reference to self. Damn it. Do you have like, does finish get self? No. Is unique, clean up, ready. I don't think there's any, yeah, there's no way to get access to actual self, which means we only have to get annoying. Can we say, make it an option? This is getting silly, but if we make it an option, then we can take it, which means that it'll replace it with none. Just wait, take. Okay, take dot unwrap, and just take dot unwrap, like that. There we go. Wait, I can't do it because it's not mutable. Build. How do I? That's annoying, because I don't want to have to insert the resource. How do I do that then? The only real way to do that would be to pass this upper layer and saying, and we need to be like, so we need to like implement a new player, I guess. So we'll just implement import player, import, and new. This needs to be public. So we need submit next, and then just do this like that. Okay, and then we go up here and we say, instead of doing it this way, and instead of you getting access, we'll just go back to main here, and we'll just we add the game plugin, and then we say dot init resource, insert resource, game player input, input new, like that. Now we just need to make player input public so that it can see it. It is, no, that's the struct here, public. Right. So we can initialize the game with the correct resources. Draw board. Alright. Wait, no. First off, you should not be doing this. No, this should be startup. Maybe that's why I'm having issues. We call startup, and then we'll call you in startup. We draw our board. So then we initialize the resource win. And then I guess we got to do like and handle next, which is going to basically just take in not our paper display. We need to take in our player input. Yes, mutably. Yeah, that'll do. We need an index. That would probably be the smarter way of doing it. Instead of initializing them at 16, we'll initialize them all at 0. And then we're going to index maybe which is with the U size, and then index is going to be 0. Index 0. Okay, so yeah, because there's no player feedback, we have to do it like per click, which is going to be a bit weird. So we're going to say like player input dot next dot get level dormant week. What the fuck does this do? Dormant wake. Okay. I don't know. That's interesting. But anyway, next dot. Okay, so we need to like get level is high, wait for rising edge, wait for falling edge. We don't want to do any of that stuff because we'll get stuck. Wait for any edge, wait for falling edge, wait. Okay, so get inversion. Configure the no, okay. I set inversion. So that flips the bit. So what we need to do is probably store what it was last frame, and we only want to trigger it if it was high last frame, low this frame. So interesting. Okay, so we're gonna say like last, which is going to be we could make it only detects one button at a time. We're just gonna say last submit, which is going to be a level, and it's going to be high. And then we're going to say here, you had it right, AI, just in the wrong spot here. Come on. Last next high. Okay, well that's incorrect. It's level, and we need to initialize it to high if they've got pull-ups on. Okay, so really it could be the other way around. Anyway, last submit high, next submit high. Okay, so we're going to say if player input dot next dot is low and player dot import dot last next wait equals level high, then player dot import dot last low. I don't know what the fuck this is doing. That seemed almost correct. So if player index is no, so that's not what next does. Huh. That actually may not be incorrect. So player index dot current get the player index. No, okay, so it's not equals winning number. It's if so. So next plus equals 1, and then player index dot current modulo equals 16, and then don't increment index. Okay, so that's it. That's good because we should we could do 1 instead, but still. Right. Player input dot index. Right. So we if you press next, you wait, what? Okay, so we need to say like probably get it here. I'm gonna need a lot, but anyway, let index equal player.index, and then we can just use that index because it won't let me access it twice, but that's fine. Okay. So we say if the player's index is less than 5, which means we haven't picked all the numbers yet, we say current index is +1, and then we modulate with it so you can cycle all the way around. Then we say else if player, no, we can do that at the same time. We say else if next is high and player is low. Oh, yeah, well actually that is something new, else if. Alright, the AI smarter than me at the moment. So we say else if if the next is high and we had it set to low, then we set it back to high. Then we go, I guess let's handle next, isn't it? That's done. That just increments our next. We don't need access to the winning numbers. Why did you? I didn't. Okay. So we want to go to our game and we want to say .add underscore systems to update, and that is handle next. Alright, so that should mean that whenever we hit the next button, which did I override that properly? Okay, so every time we hit the next button, we increment the currently selected number by 1. Okay, so let's handle next. Then we go down here and we go fm handle submit. So again, don't do the winning numbers. Player input, res player input. Okay, and then we say screen. No, again, don't pull the screen in. So we say if submit low and player high, then submit low. So then we say, so we say if player index is less than 5, then player index plus equals 1. That won't work because that means you can never get, no, you can get to 5 because when you less than 5 and then you increment to 5. Okay, and then so if player input, okay. So that's all submit does. It just increments it by 1, and then I don't think we need to warn. Admittedly, like this would be the time to actually handle the drawing and everything. So if player input is high and then it's is high and then the low is at high. Okay, so maybe we do want to actually bring in the winning numbers. Winning numbers and then screen. I don't want to do the screen. I want to handle that in its own subgroup. So maybe we're just going to leave this here and we're just going to go, that's all you do. You just do that. Submit, which is again, that's just like a player input thing. Maybe we should be doing this pre-update. Anyway. Because this is like user input, so this is like pre-update. Pre-update. We should also, in theory, chain these, but it's not going to make a difference because like you should be pressing 2 keys at once. Anyway, so then we're going to say fn calculate. Calculate result, and then this is going to do something. Maybe we'll just info calculate results. So we need to take in the player's input and the winning numbers. I'm just going to say calculate result for, and then we're going to like basically check to make sure we actually are doing what we expect to be doing. And like that, and then we say player input dot current and winning dot numbers. So calculate result, and then I guess technically we might want this to be a resume. No, we can do that in update, and then in post update we know that we've already done the calculate, and therefore we can so if we do this in update and then in post update we will clear. So we want to say run calculate results and then run if player input res player input, and then we say player input dot index is greater than or equal to 5, so that we can catch any errors that I might make where I accidentally increment it further than it needs to, but it should never be greater than 5, but no. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to say fn reset reset input. So resetting input is again going to be this, and we're just going to say index is equal to 0, current is equal to this, and high and high. Alright. Technically high and high is not necessary, but anyway. And then again, we call reset input with the same run condition, but in post update. So we're going to say add underscore system post update. And then we just run this dot run if when you're repeating code like this, we're going to say then submitted. all. So we'll do that, and then it's going to do this, and then let's do this, and then we just come here and we say submitted all, remove, yeah, and then run if submitted all, and then you're the same, run if submitted all. Okay. Logic wise, I should be able to press a number of buttons and it should cycle through, and then I should be able to press and it should say, it should print into the console what it's doing. So I might want it not to clear the board, mostly because when it's clearing the board, it's not going to be running. It might still be running, I don't know. I don't think I want to like ignore clearing the board the first time, just because it takes a really long time. So just pop this onto its own line and then comment that out and go, okay. So if I run this, it's going to have some input that people in the stream to actually see as well, because it's not going to bring anything to the physical world, it'll be bringing it to the console, which you guys can see. So I think you're next and then you're submit. Okay. So it's going to be blinking the LED really quickly because I don't think I removed the blink LED code, but yeah, toggle LED happens an update, that's fine. I guess if I see it blinking, it means I've done something wrong. Jeez. Okay, that should be fine. So, cool, I see the LED blinking. So what I'm going to do is you're going to say like, next, so we should be set to 2, and then submit, and then next, so 1, submit, 1, 2, 3, submit, 1, 2, 3, 4, submit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, submit, and then we compared 2, 1, 3, 5 to 9, 3, 2, 8, 11. So it worked, and then 3, submit, and we compared 0. Oh, that didn't look good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't like that because it's somehow getting stuck. Because I'm setting it back to high, which means that because it triggered on the submit, it then resets and triggers on the reset. So don't touch these because we still need to keep track of the actual state of the key. We just want to reset the index. So basically, when I hit submit for the 5th time, it automatically increments straight past value 1. So need to leave that, I guess. And then we'll find it if 9, 3, 2, 8, 11 is the code again. So so we could go back to drawing the board. But anyway, what we want to do instead is say calculate results. So we need like a struct that represents the current board state, I guess, and then we're going to be able to call like draw onto the board state. Do we do that in screen? No, I think we do that as its own. I just will come down here and so this is calculate results and and then I'm going to go down here. FN, no, this is a resource, derive resource, and it's a struct, and this is static struct game board, right? And then this is going to instead 5x5 grid, hilarious, but no, instead it's just going to have a current row, and it's going to be a U8, I guess. I don't know how many it's going to fit. We'll have to look and go. I don't remember how wide this thing is. Display mod, you've got a width, don't you? In here, mod width, height 200, and we're going to make them 20 by 20. Sure, it's 100 and 200. 296. 296 divided by. We need a calculator, not just typing it. So 296 divided by 20 gives us. It can be up to 14. Okay. So 14. I guess the game needs to also keep track of that, doesn't it? Okay, so current row, and it can go up to 14. We'll just put a note there, max 14. Alright, so then when I say something like import game board, sure, new can do this, and then next row, no. Okay, so we need to do something like up and draw, which is going to take in mute self. It's also going to take in the screen, which is going to be our e-paper display. It's also going to take in numbers, yep, which is a weight by 5, and we're also going to say result, which we have 5 numbers and we need 2 bits per number, so I think we're going to go 16, use 16, just to keep it nice and low. And then we go, okay, so okay, don't clear the screen. Don't clear the screen, because clearing the screen would get rid of all the old stuff, and what we want to do is instead write new stuff. So what we want to do is so for okay, let, I guess, y equal I think we're going from top left down, which is self dot current row times 10 20 times 20. So that's the y index. So if we're on row 0, we set that with y. Okay, let me say let 4x in 0 dot 5. Okay, and so we're going to say, yeah, let number equal number, and then x position is x times 20. Okay, and then rectangle, yep, which takes in our y, x position and our y, and is the size of 20 by 20, and then it's okay, no. So okay, that's interesting, because one, we're gonna have to go to our screen, and we're gonna have to add a red buffer, because we actually do use red. I was not planning on using the red, because I was hoping the refresh would be faster if you don't use red, but it doesn't seem to be any faster if you're not actually using the red. So we may as well use it. So rectangle 20 styled fill. Okay, so if number equals 0, no, that's not what we want to do. We want to say if result 2 bits. So if result, no, so it's if not number, it's not number, it's let res equal result shifted x times 2, then masked with the last 2 bits. Okay, that's our result. And then we're going to say if result okay, so we need to just let our rectangle, let rectangle equal this, and then we're going to get rid of this whole styled and screened and everything. There we go. Okay, let the rectangle do this, and then we can say yeah, okay, so kind of just want to go instead match. Okay, that's terrible, but okay, should not happen. So this should just be unreachable, right? Ambiguous. Can you please bring in the actual correct one then? Use unreachable. Okay, cool. So it's not rare. So it's primitive with fill star. So if it's 0, that means we want white. Yes. And then 1 red, and then this should also be unreachable. So white means it's correct. Okay, so 2 would be red, because red means it's wrong, and then black is going to mean like no. Okay, black is correct. White is going to be correct, but in the wrong place, and then red will be. No, I want black to be incorrect. So red, and then do that, I guess. So black being incorrect, red being correct but wrong place, and then white. I guess this should be 2 or 3. Should just be white because correct number, correct place. Right? Is it, because we're passing in 2 things. So we're saying correct number, correct place. So if we say correct number, we want it to be red. And if we say correct place, so I guess it's only if we say both. And then what would correct place wrong number mean? I guess nothing. So it's 1 or 2, make it black. Correct number, wrong place. Correct number, correct place. Okay. So then we're going to say exposition, for some reason you're not liking that this, I'm converting it to 932. So we say rect, and then we pick a style, and then we say, I mean, technically we should be drawing and doing our style in the same thing. Mostly so that we don't end up redundantly calling it. So we say like rect dot into style with fill black dot draw screen dot display. So we're going to say like if that error e equals, and then do this because I would like to be able to see my errors, please. Failed to draw rectangle. Okay. Then you're exactly the same, except you're white, and then actually you're red, aren't you? So you would be red, and then you're complaining about something, I'm not quite sure. That in a second. So then this is just white. Whoop. White, and then red doesn't go into the display. We need to go here, and we need to say you need a second buffer, annoyingly. So you would be red buffer like this. And then when we say clear display, and then so you again you just need this but red. Cool, and then we pass that directly in here with our red buffer, which doubles our memory usage, which is scary because we've got that much left. So draw ruler. Okay, we're not using that. So when I say right red, we probably don't need to. Okay, so fn right red. Instead, we're going to say so I think what we do is we go here and we say, oh, we need to copy this both lines. So this is going to be driver and then buffer, and then so we're going to say update red frame, and then we're going to say buffer's correct. It's we want to call red buffer, and then when I say wherever I was doing whatever I was doing, we call display, and then we say that returns the buffer, and we like and red display, and that just returns the red buffer like that. And then we're going to say don't do this with right red anymore. Okay, so it's going to cause an issue up here, but that's because I am doing stuff. When I draw the board, I was like initializing a buffer and then saying write red. So instead, what we do is whenever we would pass in this red, we instead pass in screen dot red display. And then I'm assuming it's in here as well. Yep. So what we actually should be getting rid of is this. I don't use this anymore. Write red. So instead of calling write red, we just call apply, which apply should then draw the whole screen. We just need to find the rest of these uses of this, and we say screen dot red display, and down here. I really probably am going to end up changing this mostly because from what I understand of these e-papers, this person's gone about it where we just save a buffer of the screen, and when we say display this, it just writes the whole buffer. But I don't know how the e-paper actually determines whether something's been changed. Like, does it keep an internal record of, like, if I write to it again, does it know what the value was and what the value was set to and then determine what was changed? Or does it instead require me to, like, manipulate how I write to the buffer? Because I suspect what the bigger concern is going to be is I'm going to be pointing the buffer in the let's double check apply works. No, see, apply doesn't. Why do I have apply and why do I have update? Oh, because update frame. Okay, yeah, gotcha. So this is update red frame with red buffer. Yeah, so I don't know if I need to manipulate where the pointer is and only write to the memory that I want to be changed if I use a partial redraw, or whether this works because it keeps track internally of what's actually changed, and so therefore rewriting the whole screen every time is fine. I suspect it's not going to be. I think it's not going to have that kind of logic. It's just going to instead keep track of like the furthest X and the furthest Y that you write, and therefore if I don't manually overwrite it when this person's code, where is it? I think it's in driver. When we call update frame, nope, that's actually the correct thing that passes that. Yeah, when we call update black and white frame, we wait until it's idle. That's me doing this. They didn't do that because they wait until it's idle before they return control to the user, which I find really obnoxious. Okay, which I probably should find some other places where that's incorrect. But anyway, so the way they do it, so when we call update black and white, they set the RAM position to 0, 0, and then just write all of the data, which for me feels like what? Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, so to me this feels like it's going to result in it redrawing the whole screen no matter if I changed any data, because I'm setting it to 0, 0 and then writing a full buffer of data. So to be able to do partial redraws, I may have to modify this so that like I can pass the actual draw commands to it and only write the actual code that I need to be writing, and then it will work. But it could keep track on its internal thing of being like, actually only these bits changed and therefore only these bits need to be redrawn, but I don't think it's that sophisticated. Okay, so I don't need this because, yeah. Anyway, so now we write to the display, and then this one's red, so we're going to write to the red display, and then this one's that, and we're going to write that to that display, and then okay, so we also need to write the number here. So this is going to be because we wrote it in black, we need to write the number in black. So we're going to have if let okay, so no, this is going to be text. Yeah, embedded graphics text new. Okay, and then so this is going to be at the text is going to be a reference to a string, the reference to number dot toString, like so. And then the position is going to be point new. I suspect I need to specify this as like y plus, oh, this is x, so this is going to be x x underscore pos plus It's +5 or +10. I don't know how big these letter numbers are going to be anyway. So then we're going to say you are going to be y. Which is interesting because our y is so big, we need to actually change this to at least a u16. So let's make it just make it nice. I think save us having to cast it all the time. So we just say y. Okay. Then we say you are y +5, and then I think the text then needs to character style. Right? Yeah, and then so the character style is going to be embedded graphics, mono fonts. So we want, there was something like mono text style. That's probably what we want. New, and then we want the font, which is going to be a reference to embedded graphics. Oh, my nose is so fucking itchy. Font, mono font. And then it wants a reference to a mono font, but somewhere in here there is a like are these the sizes? Are these like ISO by 9? So that does that mean if I go like 10, which is what I want, and then I can say, hey, look, 10 by 20 font? No, I want a is there a 10 by 5 font? 9 by 15, 5 by 7, 9 by 18. So we want it to be like 10 by 20. There's no other heights, is there? No, not really. So if we instead, wait, what if we said something like it's 8 by 13? No, it needs to be shorter than 10. So we need to be like 6 by 10. Because if it's not shorter than 10, it won't fit both. Because it potentially could be 2 digits. So instead we're going to say 6 by 10, and then the X position can stay. I kind of wish I could center it. That's the issue. No, and then the text color is going to be white, and then styled. I don't know if this is actually correct, or is it just this? I think it's just this. Yeah, just draw. Okay, and then draw target is that's to the red screen, which is incorrect, but anyway. Display. So this is black with white text. We could go red with white text. See, the issue is I think we need to clear the bit of red where the text is going to be if we do that. I think black overwrites red, but I'm not sure. It might be the other way around. It might be red overwrites black, which might mean that we want to go make you black and then do red text. Might be smarter. Anyway, so let's text new string. Okay, so what are we doing? We're doing, it's 6 wide, 10 tall, which means we want to go down 5 and across. Wait, actually, that's very much a good point. It's 10 wide, 20 tall, which would actually make that a perfect size piece of font. So we probably want to do something like let tx pos equals so then we say if number is less than 10, then it's +5, xpos plus 5, otherwise it's just xpos, and then we say here, so yeah, we want something smaller, so it needs to not be quite we need the widest font that doesn't actually touch, which would be good. So yeah, 19 by 8, and then the y is just plus 1, because we want it to be indented by 1. Basically, because I don't want like a 6 to blend in. I don't want it to read it like a single string of numbers, I guess. Anyway, so we take in our text position. Basically, we check to see if it's 2 digits, and then we y plus 1. Oh, there's a picture. Where's our 9 by 8? 9 by 18. Ooh, 9 by 18 bold. We should probably go with 9 by 18 bold. Use all the pixels we can. Yeah, okay. So then, so this draws to the screen white, and then see, but for one, remember red is on and so is white. Yeah, so writing black to this screen turns the reds off, which is what we want, because I don't really actually care what it colors underneath. So so we should, because we're going to be reusing this, we should do this outside of the thing, because it's unconditional, so the X position's always X position. And then same with the number, so like sternum equals number.toString, and then we just give a reference to sternum, like so, and then point new, okay, right, and then white, okay, so we should probably, no, because we can't do that, because in the red it has to be black, okay, so we can, so TX position, this is really big and long, but anyway, text style, and you take in ownership, I assume, yeah, that's fine. So this displays to the screen, cool. So then we're going to say copy, paste it here, except this time it's going to be black because we're on the red screen. We're going to put it to the red display, and then we do it again here, which is the white. So we're going to do it here with the black, like so. The normal display. So that should give us our numbers when we do our thing. We do draw our screen. That's when we call draw. So we have to pass in the 5 numbers and the results of our operation. Okay, so that in my head that should draw the right thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate results, and so calculating results for. So, admittedly, when you're playing it, you won't be able to see this, so we can just ignore the results. So we're going to say let result equal this, and then we're going to say 4 and 5. So found is let mute found equals false, which is interesting. So 4 0 to 5, and we say if player input current found equals true. Okay, and then we say if found result ored with 1. Okay, so that's not right. So what we need to do is we need to iterate through 5 times. We need to check. So this is if found. So we need to say, okay, so we go so if found, and then so you or 1, which is, so what we're saying is it's the correct number. So one is red. So correct number, wrong location. Yep. So or 1 with I times 2. That seems correct. And then we're going to say if player input dot current I equals winning dot numbers I, then result is 2. Right, okay, so you shift in the first bit, you shift in the second bit, and then the next one shifts in the third bit. Yeah, shifting 2, so that would make it, yeah, okay, so that'd be 4, and then that would be 8. Okay, that should shift in the correct bits, I think. So that's result set correctly. So that's it. That's all the numbers pulled out, and then we're going to say we need to bring in game board. So calculate results, and then so we need res board, which is going to be res mute game board and display mute display. which is in fact res mute epaper display. So, and then we go unusable. So, and then, okay, so first off, apparently we never use result. Okay, so we go here and we go board.draw. We pass in the whole screen, but as a mutable reference. Yeah, so we need to be dot as deref mute as mute. Right, so mutable reference to t, and then you pass in put.current, which, yeah, the numbers, and then the results. You pass in the results, and then this deciphers that and draws it to the screen. And then when you get to the end here, we need to say self.current row plus equals 1. Well, I guess we find out. So this is drawboard. So if we want to add drawboard back, because we kind of want to clear the screen if it's, we've already got something on the screen. But anyway, so we need to go back to our plugin and go, when we initialize this, we need to also app.insert resource. Yeah, insert resource game board. No. Okay, so pass in a new game board, which reset this. Okay, and then we want to go back and we're going to go, hey, please also draw the game board, which just draws the outline at the moment. And then we go wrong, and we go, I wonder if this is going to work. I haven't compiled the code for ages. We'll find out. So double checking. So we checked all that was working. So it's just whether when we calculate a result. The calculating result, we just iterate through each number, checking it against the winning numbers, and then. Okay, so we might need to set like a win resource or something, or like your one resource, so that we can like reset the screen and everything when you get to the end. Like if you hit submit while on the winning screen. Okay, so it's drawing it to the screen, which is fun. Okay, well, the LED is blinking, which implies that we are in fact running in our loop, but yeah, the screen is taking forever to clear because that's ePaper for you. Okay, our ePaper appears to have finished being cleared. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go, let's submit 0, 1, 2, 3, and go. Okay, so we compared 0. Oh, I did 3 twice. Okay, and we can have the same number twice in the results, which is not what it's supposed to do. Anyway, why did we not draw the game board? Why is it not drawing? Oh, because we have a call update on the screen, right? So we call draw on you, and we get to the end here, we operate that, and then we say screen dot if let error equals this screen update. All right, and then update calls a partial redraw. Okay, that should work. Obviously it's not going to work right now because I never actually implemented that piece of code. So that should then redraw what that's called. We do need to make sure that we don't when we pick our random numbers, we can't pick the same number twice, because there's no way to indicate to the player that they have the correct number, not in the correct space but also in the correct space, because it repeats twice. So we're gonna have to remove that. But anyway, we also got different numbers, didn't we? Yeah, 2, 10, 8. But and then again, we did change the length of time the code takes, so we need to run it twice in a row and see if we get the same numbers. But yeah, let's continue looking through the code and working out what we can do. So we call screen.update. Yep, cool. So I don't really have anything that stops you from entering like another subsequent thing really quickly. I guess what I was kind of relying on there is if you do, it will when I call update, wait for the screen to not be busy before sending the code. Nope, it does not. Okay, wait, you call update frame. Oh yeah, it's in the driver, and then the driver waits until idle, and then same with display frame, you wait until idle. Why are you complaining and not being used? But like I'm using you, I know. Did I not save the code? Updates apparently never getting used. That's concerning, because that means if I go to game, damn, it's not saved. God damn it. I don't know what's going on with my computer. I mean, every time I hit Control S, it doesn't seem to want to save the first time. Like I've got to like click back into the screen or click multiple Control S's before it actually goes, oh, you want to save. So I don't know if it's the fucking AI. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's Copilot like commandeering key presses or something and therefore getting stuck. But it's doing my head in that like I keep Control S-ing, but it's not actually saving. And obviously when you rerun code, it doesn't save it either. Like, or when you run the code, it's not like it checked, went, hey, you haven't saved game, let me save game and then compile. No, instead it. Okay. So clearing the screen. I also found something when I was digging around in the documentation that I want to try and implement, which is that you can. There was something about look for the number 10, I guess is what it was. It was 9H. We'll probably find it easier. There was something about you can set this stabling time between entering VCOM sensing mode and reading acquired. So I'm wondering, because this defaults to 10 seconds, is that what's controlling how long it takes to refresh? Is that it takes like 10 seconds is how long it waits? So if I turn this down to 2 seconds, because it's, you know, a minimum 1 second. So I'm curious if I turn this down, will it actually be faster? But I don't actually know what VCOM does, because this thing doesn't explain anything. It just expects you to know what e-papers do. Like I've tried reading it and it just doesn't explain anything. Anyway, we are going to go, let's submit 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when we hit submit, it should do something. And now, oh, it's drawing something on the screen. I don't know if it's because I touched it. It stopped. It's not good. Why did it stop? I feel like I touched it and it shorted something. Like there's a lot of exposed wires, so it wouldn't surprise me. I think I keep touching the gold pads, which then shorts it to ground, and then it decides that it's not going to keep drawing. Like I don't think it's doing any damage. It's just not drawing it properly. So all it drew was like a half black background, and then like yeah, it's not looking great. Anyway, so if I just like hit submit. Okay, so it just compared 0, 0, 0. It's doesn't seem to be doing. Oh, it's stuck. Yeah, okay. So what's happened there is the board never received. We have to like reset. So oh, I shouldn't run it. Well, now I have to run it because I've erased part of the program. I was just trying to reattach. Oops. Yeah, so what appears to happen is I think I shorted like something and it got stuck in where it thought it was. Like I interrupted the communication line or something. Yeah, shorted something. It maybe shorted reset to ground because I touched the pads and then it's stuck with the busy signal high, so the chip's waiting for it to respond and it's not going to respond. You have to wait minutes. Okay, let's go back to trying. Maybe we can. I'm not entirely sure, but can I set like the timeout lower? I don't know if this is going to do anything. Set. What's it called? It's called like sense duration, stable time. So if I turn this down, like I actually have no idea like if it actually does anything. Like there's a non-insignificant chance that all it does is nothing, I guess. And so we delay. No, okay. That's not what we want to do. We want to write a command, which the command is 19. Right. Wait, what? We write command and then we write the data, and the data is of the value 0, 1, 0, 0, and then the value that we want, which is 0 to 9, maybe. I don't know what that is. That what this means? 0h? No, I think that's just example. That's probably the power on thing. Sometimes it says it, sometimes it doesn't. It's got like the power on value or something. POR, power on result. So it's like it's saying 0, 0 when you power it on. This one doesn't say that, but I'm assuming that's what it's meaning because of the way that the layout's the same. Anyway, duration. So basically it defaults to 10 seconds. So what we it's also got a capital letter, which is yelling at me. So we need to send the code 29 and then that layout. So it's going to copy that so I can read it. So we need to self dot wait until idle, and then we say self dot interface dot command, and then this is command. Do they have one for it? Probably not, if I was to guess, because they haven't implemented it, which means they probably didn't actually bother adding the thing. So we're just going to put a comment here and paste our numbers. So we need to go here. We need to go init update. Okay, so we need to say, hey, this command is 29, and what's it called? vcom sense duration, and it's hex value 29. Okay, so we have like pub const sense vcom duration, and this is a u8 and u equal 0x no 0x 29. Yeah, okay, that is correct. Maybe vcom hex 29, and then can I like get you to please correct spelling here. So they don't have something like this, and I don't think they have the hex code 29 in here, so yeah, there's nothing like this. Sure, and then we're going to go back to wherever we were doing driver, and then we need to say time, we just need to do a u8. So the most it can be is 16 because it's 4 bits. So let time equal yep, lower 4 bits. Anyway, it's pretty good at this stuff, isn't it? So we're gonna say command interface, so we and then we need to do that, and then we need to then all that with 0 b what's the binary thing? It needs to be the second top bits. That's 64, maybe. I don't know. Let's make it a hex, and then it's not f. F is 8. It's not 8. Maybe it is. No, 8's the top bit, so it would be the next bit down. What's the next bit down from 8? Wait, maybe it is 8. What's 80 look like? 128? No, it's the next one down. I think, is it 4? We want to be setting at 64, right? Because then there's 2, and then there's 4. Yeah, okay. So hex 40, which is 64, which I believe is what that bit. Yeah, so it's here. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So the 64 bit needs to be set. Okay. And then I think there's one that's like comms with data. Command with data, and then we say command, and then this is vcom sense duration, and then the data is a reference to time. What are you doing? And then vcom with data. No, it does return a result. Okay, so you need to return a result like that. Okay. Wait until idle. Does that return a result? That does. No, none of these are returning a result. That might be me. Yeah, something about waiting until idle. No, you just check to see if the pin's in the right state. Anyway, I'm gonna check the display while we're. So let's just submit lots of nexts and see what it renders. Don't touch it. Find out what it displays. So first off, it's very incorrect because it's packing. Right, we can put some spacing between them. I just realized because it's 20 times 5 is 100, but it's 128 pixels, which means we have slightly more space. They also need to also start further down. So it's drawn a bunch of black squares because apparently there was no zeros, but it hasn't drawn any numbers on them, which is annoying because it's not rendering the way I want it to render, I guess. Anyway, we should be able to set this, which means that when we go to somewhere, we can set like a stable time, which is where we like initialize the screen, wherever that is. I think that's in main. We get the screen, we say bus, new, something display, new display, and then at some point we hinder it, we match this display. Okay, then we can make immutable. We can say display dot state. Well, we didn't make it public, did we? Also, it's not you; it's the actual screen, isn't it? Do we pass you the screen? No, you create the screen. Okay. Well, actually, that means that's good because we can make this not mutable then, and we can just set it in here and see if it does anything at all. Let's hope it doesn't break anything. But we go to display, and we go here, and we go, okay. So we call new, and then we get the new driver, and then we get the two buffers, and then we call that. Okay. So when we get the driver, we're going to say driver dot did I not make? I think I still didn't make it public, even though I literally said to myself, I didn't make a public driver. Yeah. Public. Okay. Are you going to yell at me that something about this is not correct? It is. No method named wait until idle. Then what the hell am I calling? Is it self.interface? Don't wait until idle. Yeah, okay. So then you call stable time, and so we call it stable time, and we're going to say that the time is, let's just go down to like 3 seconds. And then we go display, and we say, give you delay. We didn't make immutable. Anyway. Yeah, cool. So maybe that'll make it render it faster. Anyway, so something about the way we're rendering text isn't working. So let's work on that. I'm hoping it'll be really obvious if that doesn't work. We're not going to be making 2 issues, so maybe we should actually check that. Let's run and make sure it all still works before I go fucking around in here and find out that I broke something else. So one thing we did need to do is we've got 5 screens, so it's 100 pixels, which means we need to buffer the X position. So X position is that plus what do we got? So we got like, well, it needs to be plus 5 because there's like a 5 pixel border, and then we need to go so there's 128 and we've just removed 5, which means we have 23, and you divide 23 by the 5 of them, so that'll be like 6. So okay, so we can make it 3 like that. Okay, so it's drawing the board. Is it faster? I can't tell because it's spending ages doing all sorts of flickery stuff. I don't think it's any faster because it's still going, which means it's just waiting. So either my code didn't actually change anything, which is definitely possible. Did I not like save it? Maybe. Okay, so it apparently just hasn't actually done anything. Anyway, we're just going to go submit. Okay, drawing something. We're drawing white at the moment, and then they're black, and then it's refreshing the whole screen, which annoys me to no end. I think I need to tell it not to refresh the whole screen, which in reality just means I should probably buffer it out from instead of storing a buffer and then sending a whole buffer. Okay, So why are you not rendering the text? That's the question. So when we call draw, we do this and we say, hey, so you're drawing the rectangles because you're literally, I can see the black rectangles. You're not printing any errors, so that's fine. Then we get to here, we say text. Okay, so my assumption is that maybe because you're drawing, no, so you fill it with black and then you write to white and it's the screen display. So it's not failing here, it's just not doing something. Print new monospaced text. Possibly it's just printing it somewhere very wrong. Text position, which is an X position +5 and then else X position, and then the Y is current row times Y, which we would draw the rectangle, and then we do Y +1, right? But where is the new text? New Y +1. But why am I not seeing any text? Okay, so I'm going to get rid of it drawing the rectangle, so that like maybe the text is there but it's the wrong color. That's what I'm curious about. Or maybe like it can't, well, that won't necessarily work. New, add an apostrophe here. I don't think that matters. Position. So my assumption is either I'm putting it in the wrong spot, which is TX position, and then it's X position. Okay. So let's have a look. Since it prints out the answers, I can also just like make sure I can like get these other states and check those too. So when I rerun this, I need to get it to display the text. I wish it wasn't so slow to refresh. It would make this so much easier because I have to wait like 30 seconds after it. Not only is it compiled and written into the flash, you have to wait for it to refresh the display to clear and then to refresh the display to what I'm viewing. But yeah, that tells me also that I need to make it not write the entire thing, because I'm sure I'm pulling a update, yeah, which means it shouldn't actually be redrawing the whole screen. It should only be redrawing the changes, which means that obviously because I'm writing to it. So the way to do that would be to add display, and instead of using this display, what is it, 2 by 13 or whatever it says, 2 in 13. Clear on screen. Yeah, so instead of using the 2 in 13, if we just passed it the screen, and then instead of doing whatever we do in the 2 by 13, we actually write the right buffer onto the chip, it probably might stop refreshing the whole screen. Anyway, all right, so we hit submit. Oh, there we go. Oh, I got one. The one's a different color. It's kind of funny. Oh yeah, look, there he is. It's the fourth digit is 0, so I got one. Okay. Right, they're also too close to the top. So why are they all? Oh, yes, they're all red. Why are they all red? They're all red because I'm a silly goose and you don't. I got 0 is in there, and because they're all 0. 0, 0 paired. Okay, anyway, that's fine. So we need to set the Y to +5 so that it doesn't touch the border. And it also should be probably like times 20, maybe 22 plus 5, so that it doesn't touch the top and also doesn't touch all the others. We can also make it slightly wider because it's not touching on the far side, which means it's 24 maybe. Interesting. Okay. Try to mentally picture it. So again, it's still not getting any text, which is annoying me. We can also do something like click once. Oh, I can now see some 0s, which means that they're drawing too high up. Because what did I submit? I submitted one. Oh, no, apparently I submitted a bunch of zeros again. No, it just never said calculating result a second time. It says drawing row. So, why? That's interesting. Why did it never send calculating result again? I don't think I just sent all zeros again. No, I didn't because, well, interestingly, like the second row is also broken. That's fun. So the zeros appear to be rendering too high up. They're like rendering at the top. So what I need to do is instead render them, instead of at y, it needs to be like y plus. I want to say 10 because then it moves it halfway. And then that might work. So if I can, right? Because I'm actually it might be minus 10. No, what? The issue is I don't know what number it's submitted. So if I said like 1, there it is. So why did it not draw it then? Like what? Is it because I submitted all zeros again? Well, the issue is I can't. Oh, wait for it to finish refreshing, but I can't see the 1 anywhere, which means that they're too high. I hope that's what that means. All right. Well, whatever number I submitted had a different number in spot 2. Oh. Right. So yeah, they're rendering like one cell too low. That or I'm never calling the draw properly. But I'm assuming that they're rendering one cell too high. So the first numbers are rendering off the top, and then the next numbers are rendering on. I probably should have, submitted another number maybe. Like if I submit all zeros again before it flashes. Okay. So that should hopefully send the code, and then it can flash while the screen's refreshing. Yes, I see a sequence of all zeros again, which to me implies it's writing too high. Oh, it stayed black for a very long time. That was very scary. I'm so worried that I'm going to accidentally do something and break this thing. Well, what I should probably do is write something to the flex 4th slot. Yeah, it's gonna clear it now. Yeah, so I'm thinking what I can do is instead of passing in the entire buffer, if I instead program this thing to only draw the specific area that it actually wants to use. So we just submit all zeros again. I think I hit 0 too many times there. I hit submit 1 too many times. I also need to remove the ability for duplicate numbers to show up. It seems to be somewhat rare, but it's like a 5 and 16 something. Actually, it's pretty higher than that. Hey, look at that. It's drawing a bunch of zeros in the wrong fucking spot. Wait, they're too high. No, I'm getting rid of the rectangle. That's not what I wanted to do. Wait, that's even more confusing because have I made even what? I wanted the rectangle. I didn't want to. Oh, right, because I'm not rendering the if it's. All right, we need to not increment the rectangle. We need to increment you not by 11, but by by 11. Which actually makes a lot more sense when I think about it, because I want them to render in the middle. I'm rendering at 11, not 1. Because 1 is the offset. And then obviously we don't draw it if it's the wrong color. That's probably why I can't see the 0. Okay. So we turn this back on, and then we go, hey, can you just like rerun that code? Because that's just horrendous. This should work. Look. We can all dream. Come on, render properly, render properly. Okay, screen's been cleared, and then we want to go something along the lines of clickety clack, clickety clack. I kind of want to submit different numbers this time. So let's submit 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and submit 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So first off, I got 0 in the right spot, which is hilarious, purely by luck. Is it going to render it properly? The answer is almost certainly no, because I'm seeing a mostly black screen with 1 black letter. Oh, no, they're coming in. For some reason, the 3 is red. Oh, that's because 3 is in there. Huh. Okay, so first off, I don't think it's 1 we want to go down. So we went down 10, and the letters are 9 high, but they seem too high to the top. So is it supposed to actually go down, I guess, 12? Because then we're centered plus, I don't know. They're also not centered, which is annoying me to no end. Like left and right centered. So they are significantly closer to the top than the bottom. So it's not just a off by 1 kind of issue. It's something like, if we go, hey, if I said draw, so it must be drawing 0 is the bottom corner and it draws up. So that means like 10 is our center. And then we need to minus, because they're 9 wide, 18 tall. So minus 9. Other way. It's not minus 9. It's we want to draw them at 19. Right, because then they're 1 off the bottom and then they draw up. But no, they need to not be drawn all the way at the bottom. What the hell? Okay, so then they're 18 tall, but they're not 18 tall. That's, I'm drawing 20 tall rectangles, correct? Like the rectangles are by 20, yeah, size 20 by 20. So I need to move them down, that's for sure. So 10 will be drawing them on center line, and I'm drawing them at 11. That's 1 below center line. So I draw them at 18. If I draw them at 18, the other question is, did I do it everywhere? Okay, yeah, so we need to make this ty as well, because again, we're using it everywhere and we're changing it. So let ty just equal y plus 18. Right, and then you want to be ty plus, not tx, ty. Let me just copy this, let me go down here, just paste, and now I don't think that's right, because we drew 11 and 11, it's not drawing it right, so it's not quite 11, it's like 15. I want to say it's, wait, it would be 15, wouldn't it? Because it would be half of, no, they're not 9 tall, yeah. Maybe they are 9 tall, maybe that's what I'm confusing myself with. See, because if I go 15, let's go 15. 15 makes much more sense than 18, because 18 means like 2 pixels from the bottom, and they're definitely more than 1 pixel off of center. So, yeah. Anyway, they're not centered left and right either, and that's because they're currently, if 9 is less than 2, we add 5. 5 is not correct. It should be 6, because they're 9 wide. Is that right? Yeah, because 5, if they were, so we draw from 6, and then because then they're 9 wide, 6. We go 6 plus 9, 6 plus 9 plus 6 is 21, as opposed to at the moment they're 6 plus, they're 5 plus 9 equals plus 5, so that's 19. So they're basically, they're slightly left. I don't think I can fix that because I can't put a fractional number in. So personally, I think I'd rather them be slightly more to the other side, so I'm going to go 6. Okay, and then we kind of need a border around them, even if they're the wrong number. Well, the white one is what's happening. So because the screen is white, I need a white border around the white number, around the right square. So that's something we have to do specifically down here. So we draw the red one. We don't care about the red one. When we draw the white one, can we if let fill white? Yeah, cool. So we need to say like do the same thing, but we probably actually want to do fill black, and then when we get to here we want a different rectangle, so we want to like rectangle new, and then the point is wherever the point is, so that's x pos plus 1 and y, y is y plus 1, and then the size is 18 by 18, and then we fill that with white. Okay, cool. So we do draw a black one, and then we draw a white one in the middle, and then that should make our boxes have a nice little outline. We probably did the same thing with the red, to be honest. So what that actually translates to is draw the black outside of the loop, and then in here we draw either the white text or here. So I guess technically we would want to then we want to take this rectangle because we're only going to be doing this once per cycle. So then we come down here and we go, hey, primitive field black. Yep, that goes here. And then we want to do this rectangle is actually paste the same thing back in, but instead it's x plus 1 and y plus 1, and then 18 by 18. And then I'm not actually sure if drawing red on black which gets priority, but we're going to say, hey, you only draw the text because you've already made it black. We've already drawn it black. And then you are going to draw it red using rect, yep, and then you're going to draw it white. Like so. And then, so we draw a black one, and then instead of drawing a white one, we just do that. Okay, so we draw a red one or a white one, which interestingly actually means that we could probably do the whole style thing up there because red and white are the same. They're both on, which means we can actually do like with primitive style rect here with primitive style on, and then we can just say rect.draw. Why are you not letting me aim into style to give it, but I'm not doing that anymore? Why are you not working? Okay. So draw and then draw and rect and rect. Okay, so we have our text, and then both of them write their text in black, which means we could actually probably collapse the whole thing. Well, the only difference is that you draw a display and you draw a red display. There is a difference, but interesting. So I should look how the displays are done so I can work out if I can override it. We need some kind of win condition, I guess, but when you've got them all and then just reset, I guess. And it's guessing a lot now. So what that also translates to is we should probably also have like the player input's really more like a game state, but anyway, somewhere we need to right, when we're generating this, we need to make sure that the numbers are not the same. So so it's more like we need to like let mute win, and then I don't know. So can we say like let mute vec equals is it like from lines from iter? Yeah, from iter. And then we want to go 0.16, something like that. And then we want to so we want to be like, I guess what we would actually do is we would go vec.shuffle with the RNG like that, and then we would just say vec.pop. Vec.pop. We could have also just like could have just done the first 2 elements, but I think pop's funnier. So we 5. Yep, sure. I don't know if it's going to work. We need to go here and you go, hey, let's see. Okay, so you don't like that because something about them not being filled with U8s. Okay, well that's easy to fix. We just say 16 U8. So, and then why can't I use pop? Ah, because it's an enum. Okay, so instead we're just going to say vec. It would have been fun. 0, 1. Oh, we actually include the parentheses. 3 and because pop doesn't guarantee to actually have a value, so we may know that there's a value. Yeah. So that means that we can no longer get duplicate values. So you can't have them all be zeros. Literally, my code doesn't actually care when you enter multiple numbers of the same. As a result, it still makes them all red, which is fine, actually, hilariously enough. So what we can get 14 goes. So we need to see. I don't know if I want to use state. I kind of want to do my own state instead of using Bevy state. I think state's still in here from state plugin, but that's from the person whose code I was copying originally. So we're going to say like get rid of state plugin. I don't think we need time plugin either, to be honest. Frame count plugin. Oh no, plugin. Panic handle plugin. Is this panic handles for apps? I don't know if we need that one either. I think we can get rid of both of those because I don't think I use time at all. Which should hopefully mean that this number gets really big again because it, well, I mean, we've still got 33k of RAM, heap left. That's what's heap. But hopefully it gets bigger when we do the fact that we're going to go, like we've just removed a bunch of plugins that I'm not even ever going to use. So what I need to do now, I guess, is go to the game and go, we need a win state and a game over state. So we need to handle that ourselves because we don't use Bevy's stuff because it's way too heavy for what we're doing. So I guess we'll come down here and we'll do it. And we'll go enum game state. Okay. So it needs to be playing win loss. So win and loss doesn't actually do anything. Maybe we'll print something different on there when you fail. Maybe like print what it was supposed to be. So that probably means we actually want to give them 10 guesses. I don't know if that's statistically likely to get it or not. But if we give them all 14 guesses, we run out of screen space, so we can't put anything in the bottom. But what I'm thinking is if you get to guess 12 guesses and then at guess at guess 12, like if you don't get it on guess 12, we'll then draw the lose. So now you need to then return something. Maybe when we call draw, it's going to return I mean technically so this is going to be like, we need to change this to like draw turn. Right. And then what we need to do is we need to go like hub fn draw well yeah, reset needs to do that, but and draw we'll draw win, and that's going to do absolutely nothing. Well, it takes immutable stuff. It needs to take in the same thing, but we're just going to actually do this for now. I'm going to say, hey, don't do anything, just return. Just don't do anything. So let's draw win, and then we need to be like hub fn draw loss, which needs to take in the e-paper, and it also needs to take in the numbers. Like so, and then draw loss message. So y, no, so y is equal to not current row. Hopefully the compiler just optimizes this the way, but instead we're going to say it's going to be row 14 times 22 plus 5. So what is that? Calculator 14 times 22 plus 5. That's too high. That goes off of our screen, doesn't it? Because we only got 200 and something pixels. I don't actually remember what size my e-paper is. E-paper. What have we got? So you are 296. So that is too big. So it can't be 14. So is it 13 times 22 plus 5, 290. And then we have 5 for the border at the bottom. So 291, and we're going to, oh, that's perfect, actually. So it's 13. So we're going to give them 12 guesses, and then the 13th will be the answer. Okay, so next, new, wait, no, that doesn't make sense, because that, so 13 times 22 plus 5, that gives us 290, which means that that would be off the bottom. So it actually needs to be 12, because we then draw the actual thing. So, oh, well, that's a bit cruel. Bro, you lost. Oh no. That's the AI. Started. Okay. Well, first off, the screen's going to be black, so we need to actually write that in well, the screen's white, so we need to write that in black. But I do love that, but it's not there. So write that at minus 20, because that would, so line 12 is the answer, and then above that there'll be a blank space where we can write you lost. And then we want to do the same logic that we do for drawing the this one here. So we're going to go this, and we're going to go, hey, do this, and then we need to copy the rectangle. So we also do that inside a loop, don't we? This inside X loop, which is then each number. We then don't need to extract the result, and then the text position, and then we do this. Okay, we need all that, but we can like ignore some of it. So we do that, and then do that, right? There we go. Okay, what do we need to do? We ignore result because we know these are the correct answers. So we print this number, and then we say, hey, it's X times 25. Just double checking that everything is correct. So first off, I don't think we need to do this like this, but we'll leave it for now because we're only ever going to print black. Wait, what? Is this text? Oh yeah, black text. So we say white rectangle, black rectangle, then white rectangle, then text to display, and we're always going to do that because again, you've lost at this point. We're telling you the answer, so they're always going to be correct. So that's our draw loss. So hilarious. So draw turn. So then we need to go something along the lines of interesting. So weirdly, we need to do like a different behavior based on if the handle submit. Right. So we need to say like winning numbers needs to be implemented and actually given a new. So impl winning, right, like something like this, and we say new, but then new needs to do whatever we're doing inside plugin, wherever the hell we've put that. But so this is how we assign new numbers. So we need to say, hey, inside your new, you need to do this, and then we need to return. Yeah, that's what you then return, like that. Thank you. So no, you don't pass in the numbers. You pass in nothing, and then we say, hey, this is winning new, like so. So that's our new numbers. So that, because that just means that we can easily like reinitialize it later. Why is my control S not working? Why does it like? Why do I have to spam it to fucking do anything? Anyway, handle submit. So it's we need to. So. Wait. Restart. Okay, wait for reset. So what we need to do is we need to go you draw win, draw loss. Draw win does nothing at the moment. I guess what we can make draw win do is we can just copy the same code as to draw loss, but we'll just put you win. So sure, and then we need to do that. So it's just exactly the same code to work out. Well, now we print you. You draw win. message, and then it's you in terms. So we need to actually go like, can I do a reference in format? I don't know if this will work. And then we need to say self dot line current row. Right, I think. Expected something about curly braces. Oh, right. Yep, do that. Failed to draw a message. Okay, so this is the draw win. So that means that something about you. So when we say draw win, no, so it's something about when we say draw turn, maybe. No, we calculate result, and then we say if result equals 0 be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 forward dot draw win. Okay. Else if board dot current rows is greater than is greater than 10. Yeah, 10 guesses, because that's all the screen space we have. Board.draw less winning numbers, board.reset, and then else. Right. Okay, so if the result's correct, that means you won, so draw win, which drawing win should still do the same thing. So drawing win should also take in numbers. To be honest, drawing win should do exactly the same thing as drawing lost, except it should just print a different message. So just do exactly the same thing. There should be its own function to draw the winning numbers. Anyway, so we do exactly the same thing, except we use a one in this many turns. Now, I think in theory that implies that you can win on the final turn. Because, like, it checks to see if you've won, then it checks to see if you've taken too many turns. So technically, I think you get 11 guesses, because if the final guess is the right thing. Like, if the final guess is the right guess, you win. Okay, so we draw winning numbers. So what do we want to do to check this? So we go da 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 da. So we iterate through this, and we draw all this, and we go draw win, draw loss, game state. Okay, so actually, do we even need to track game state then? I kind of like calculate result needs to keep track of whether we're playing, whether you won. We don't actually need to know if you won or lost. We just need to know if you're waiting for a reset. So we say mute state res mute game state. Okay, so we say, hey, if you get to here, we need to say game state reference equals game state waiting for reset. And you do the same thing if you lose. I guess technically don't call board.reset then. Waiting for reset. You can't be dereferenced. You want a resource? Yes, but we can fix that. Derive. Derive resource. Okay. Right, so we say if state does not equal playing return game input. Yeah, cool. So we need to dereference you, and then we need to also make sure that you are clone copy equal par equal, but good, all that jazz. So the idea is if when we calculate results, if state is not playing, Game is not playing, state, skip. Okay, skip result. Okay, so then technically we need to handle submit differently based on state, which is res game state. You actually need to be mutable because I'm going to reset game state here. Mute. We also need the winning numbers. You know what? Let's make it its own function that handle submit will run end of game, and that's going to work the same way. We're going to say, yep, you need the maybe you need the display. Maybe. What we should actually do instead, which we would still want to initialize this with the numbers board. What we need to do is say like startup prelude, and so instead of this being in startup, this needs to be in like first, and then we need to say like run if in no, in state. Run if. Ooh, that's the question, isn't it? See, I kind of. We say end of game, but I'm like, so if it's in this state, waiting for reset. Right. So when you're playing and then you're waiting for reset. Okay. So then we need to like, let's say reset it. So we need to say, I guess it's start. So when we say start, we're going to run this. So this is run if fn in state, in underscore state. Right, and then this is going to take in a state, right, which is a game state, and then it's going to return a function that returns booleans. I don't think you need to be mutable. You then take in like a res game state boolean, and then you return game state s. You can just give it s. I don't actually think we even do this. We can just say no. Wait. What? So s is res game state. And then you just say game state equals this. That should work. And then we should say run if in state. In state game state start. Right, so you run that, and then you run in first, and then we want to go, hey, then in add systems. I guess technically we can just leave it in first. We just need to go like, hey, I need to say reset well, I guess it's start game, isn't it? Start game. The start game is going to do some fancy stuff. Start game's going to need access to everything, so we're going to be like fn start game, like so, and then we go mute board is res board. We don't need access to that. We need mute player, which is going to be our res player inputs, and then winning numbers, and then we go, hey, board.reset player.index equals 0 and player.current equals 0, and then winning number, we're gonna like dereference winning and equals winning new. Okay, so we picked new winning numbers. So we should probably add a new empty version. So we should just derive default actually. So there'll be an empty version, default, which just returns 0, and that's the one we actually initialize. So this would be default. So we insert default, and then we are going to be in game start, which, because we're in game start, means that we can we will reset. So we need to insert a resource, insert resource, game state start. So when we're in start, what happened? Okay, while we're in start, we can draw the board, and this is like technically this is clear the board, so we should clear board. Okay, so we when we're in the first step of any frame is to check to see if we're in start. If we're in start, we clear the board and start the game. Okay, So then we go here, and in pre-update we handle the inputs, and then in update we calculate whether the player is correct on their final submit, and then in post-update we reset inputs. Okay, it probably doesn't need to be split like this. It could probably just be chained in the correct order. So like if we just chain and then run if, we could probably punch everything into update. I don't know if it's any more efficient or not. We'll live with it. It probably is more memory efficient because I don't think it generates these. Like if we add systems, it checks to see if it's in a schedule. Like it adds the system and then it world resource mute and then add system and then entry and then add system and then entry and then it configs our. I'm pretty sure it only adds a schedule if you actually have something in that schedule. So theoretically, doing it this way will result in us having a whole bunch more schedules, when in reality we could probably just order the systems to run in the correct order because there's so few of them that we can just make it anyway. So this is our start game. So start game resets everything. So we need our game state. So we're going to say like, hey, you're only going to run if in this state, so we don't actually need to check to see if you're waiting. So the final thing you do is you set game to not playing but start. Can't blame the AI. I didn't have start yet. Okay, game ended. Resetting board. So don't call board reset. Not what you do. What you do is you instead we need player. We don't need the display either. We need the input into the player. Right. We need our player inputs, and then we're going to say if player dot submit dot is underscore low. Right. Ampersand and player dot last submit equals level high. I think it's else, isn't it? No, it's else if player dot last submit is high and last submit was low. Okay, so first off, no method. Oh, it's not. No, it's just submit, not last submit. Submit. Okay, right. So we go, hey, if player submit is low while it was high last time, and we're in the end of the game, I don't think we actually need access to the board because again, it's all about resetting. So we're gonna wait on this screen until you press it, and then in which case we just say, hey, set this to start. Cool. Right. Okay, if it is low and it was low, and you need to set it to low. So we need to say player inputs last submit low. Otherwise, we end up in an infinite loop. So we set that, and then we go, hey, you only run somewhere. You'd be like, add systems to update. Now, the concerning thing is endgame.run if say waiting for reset. So you need to also only chain.run if in state game state playing. Okay. So you only run if we're playing. This is endgame. We are using endgame. So you don't need to check this because we don't run you if we're not in playing, but you calculate whether we finished and therefore can render the correct answer. So it's going to be really slow and tedious to test the fail state because I'll have to guess so many times. But the win state should be pretty easy because it literally prints to the console what the winning numbers are, and I can just take the winning numbers. I may have to remove all that console logging stuff in terms of a like for power efficiency. I can't be writing to a console, even if the console won't be there to see. I think it takes energy to write to the console even if it's not there. Like it doesn't detect that the console's not present and then just ignore all that code. So it will probably have to be stripped out, but it should be fine. Okay, so let's reset the code, run the code, and test to see if the game works. Okay, it's still compiling. Come on, look at that, I've plugged like 3 capacitors in to see how long I can run like 3 capacitors. It's 2 capacitors. They're 68. Or no, 6.8 millifarad because it's like 6,800 microfarad. At 5 volts. I don't think it even lasts a second. Now, my question is, like, I don't know how I'm going to quantify and time that. I guess one way would be to print to the screen continuously and then see what number it gets to when I unplug it. But I would need some kind of way of detecting that I've unplugged it so that it's not just spewing it to the console and I can actually see when I unplugged it. I was thinking about connecting the voltage analog to digital converter up and being like, oh, the voltage has dropped below 5 volts, so I must be disconnected, and then start printing to the screen how long it's been. Like, it's been this long since I disconnect, and then when it stops printing, then it's like, well, that's when it ran out of power. But it's also interesting because I suspect that the Pico continues running significantly longer than the LED, which is what I was using to work out. It can last about a second. And the reason I think that that's what's happening is because I've unplugged the power and plugged the power back in when the LED went out, and then it didn't restart because it never reset the screen, which tells me that either something went horribly wrong and for some reason plugging it back in caused it to not run the code properly, or what happened was that the Pico hadn't actually run out of power, but there wasn't enough to run the LED, so the LED turned off, and then the Pico just sort of sitting there waiting, and I plugged it back in fast enough that it didn't shut down. But this is dumb. Anyway. Come on, it's still taking forever. You know what? Something that took so long and then blinked on a light and then did it again tells me that I'm accidentally like calling reset twice. Somehow I'm like clearing the board and then starting the game, and then what's the bet that when I get down here I'm going to realize that I'm never actually telling it to start. When we run start game, we never set it to playing, do we? Yep. I knew it. State. Game state. Let me say, hey, state. State equals game state playing. Thank you. So what's happening now is I'm constantly refreshing the screen. Every time it's done, it just goes, oh, we're still in startup. So it then resets the game, regenerates winning numbers, and then clears the screen again, which is really, really annoying because it takes so goddamn long to clear the screen. I should have just gone with a black and white display. But again, I'm going with shit that I already owned instead of ordering stuff in. So like, otherwise this video would be delayed by 2 weeks that I'm planning to make. But it would definitely make it faster if I could refresh it in 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure this thing can do a 2-second refresh if I don't redraw the whole screen. Like, but I don't actually know how to tell it to do that. We also got like twice the memory back because I removed all those plugins that I'm not actually using. So that's fine. Okay. Resetting, come on, come on. Now, annoyingly, the LED is not blinking, which means it's stuck because it's waiting, which concerns me. What I think happened is we cleared the board. Yeah, no, we need to change these because we need to specifically say, I think what happened there is because the systems can happen in any order, it probably cleared the board. No, because I should have set it to playing. Maybe it set it, no, again, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we want to change them because we want to make sure we clear the board and then set it to playing. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to go submit 0, submit 1, submit 2, submit 3, and then we submit 4. Okay. Hey, 4's in the right spot, so that one should be red. Oh no, 4's not in the right spot. 4's in there. So it's 1, which statistically, like, what are the odds that I got 2 of the numbers? I mean, is it 5 and 16? Yes, 16 numbers, and I guessed 5, and there's 5. I don't know how the math worked out. It looks so nice with the black border around it, and then it draws the red. Oh, glorious. Okay, the numbers again are not centered, but I don't think I can make them centered because again it's 9 by 8. No, they should be able to center up and down. So they're 1 too low, is my guess. So whatever number I've got, because if they're 18 wide, they're 9. No, they're 9 wide, 18 tall. They're taller than that wide. Yeah. So find where I'm drawing the board. Where am I drawing the board? Somewhere. It's import game board, draw turn. So somewhere in here, somewhere we specify the text y, somewhere text y. So we're adding 15. We should be adding 1 less. So 14 should make them 1 pixel higher, which will hopefully center them. Again, just a cosmetic difference. But anyway, so we know the numbers because it told us here. So what we need to do is we need to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, submit. 1, submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, submit. Hey, it's constantly spamming end game. No, you were supposed to fucking, first off, you calculated this and then you called draw win. Why are you looping indefinitely? Game end, resetting board. So something, first off, it's not drawing anything to the screen. So something went terribly wrong because it got somewhere, which is here, which I guess is waiting for reset. So we called draw win. Did it actually ever call draw win? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I just never call apply, which is the statistically most likely thing that I fucked up here is I never call apply. Right, we never call apply. Do we call apply on fail? No, we don't call apply on fail either. Yeah. Clap for. Yep. Okay, so we apply, and so what's happening is we're stuck in some kind of loop that says, hey, wait, you know what? That makes sense because that's where we want to be stuck. It's that for whatever reason the AI stuck in like a print that we won, and it's doing it every single time while it waits for the game to reset, which is not what we want to do. End game. Game ended resetting board. No, that's here. Game ended resetting board. Thank you. Don't print it every frame. Print it on the frame. Anyway, hopefully this will display. And then I can go back to trying to make this thing use as little power if possible. And I'm obviously not going to be able to make the video that I was planning to make this weekend because I got kind of distracted doing other shit. And well, I guess not doing other shit. Not doing what I was supposed to be doing, that's for sure. That's concerning that it's writing such a little amount of memory. Yeah. Something tells me that I can collapse those, not use multiple schedulers, and that should, in theory, use less memory because I don't actually remember how much, well, I don't know how much memory a single scheduler uses, but so we draw our screen. Something, I looked at it and it feels like it resets twice, but maybe that's because it does the black and then it does the red. Actually, no, because it's definitely resetting twice because it's not blinking the LED. Did I touch it wrong? I just hit submit. Oh, no. Okay, why is the LED not blinking? Anyway, this concerns me because the LED is not blinking and it should be blinking. I see we kept touching this thing because I accidentally short those wires again and it resets. I'm really annoyed. Okay, come on. You were displaying something, and you're displaying a bunch of zeros and a bunch. Wait, oh, because one of them was a 0. I was going, they're all red except one of them. It's like obviously because if they're all red except one and they're all the same number, it means I put the same number in. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Submit. Submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Submit. Hey, we got the numbers. Hey, and it's printing. It's printing. It's printing. It says U1 in 1, which is maybe technically correct. I feel like it should probably say 2. Yeah, so it should say 2 because it took 2 guesses. It only got 1 incorrect, but it took 2 guesses. So when we print U1, wherever the hell that is, it's in here, print U1, draw win. So it says, hey, something, draw a win message, which says you won in this many turns, which is just going to be like row plus 1. Because then it'll say 1 if you got it in the first guess, like if you didn't actually get it wrong. Also, doing that reveals, because that has actually like 2-digit numbers, the 1 is touching the border, which means we need to shift them over by 1 more in terms of the, well, I guess over by 1 when I'm, oh no, that's going to be annoying because it's why you don't have duplicate code. So what's happening here is that the x position should be y, x plus 1. Maybe x plus 2? Yeah, well, it's touching it, and if I move it by 1, will it still be touching it? Probably. If I move it by 2-ish. This is that idea of it. It's I should move all this code into an abstract thing of draw a specific, like draw the row, and then I wouldn't have this issue of like now I've got to go find it in like all the places that I'm using it. This is draw turn, and then draw turn does this. Okay, so that should fix all that, and then I'm gonna say that remarkably that works. I don't know what the statistical odds of getting it are, like, so you get technically 11 guesses, but you get 10 reveals. So I'll do that math off the screen to work out like what are the, like, is it possible to get every time? Because if you strategically pick your numbers, even in the worst case scenario, you should be able to eliminate, well, you get eliminate 5 numbers per turn. So if you don't get any numbers right, that would take 5 unique numbers is 16. So to eliminate, you can eliminate 11 numbers, which means it will take at least 2 and a bit turns. So at most 2 turns can be lost completely, gaining nothing. And then after that, you will have caught at least, on turn 3, you'll have caught at least 4 of the numbers, but maybe not in the right spots. I think, yeah. So at least 4 numbers, but not necessarily in the right places. And then from there, how do we go? So now you gotta get them in the right spots, and the right spot should be pretty easy. Yeah, I think you should be able to do it in 10. So I think the game is actually fair. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the stream today. I will hopefully get this project done during the week, maybe, and then make the video for the weekend. Well, I don't know, this video is going to take a while. I thought it was going to be quick. It probably will be quick once I actually get onto doing it, but I've enjoyed. Once the video that this project's related to is out, then I'll maybe upload the source code. I think the issue of like I've just pinched this person's create wholesale, like, and modified it for what I need. I'm probably do even further modifications if I need, but I don't feel like just uploading their code in my repository is a good idea. So I might have to make a pull request on theirs, fix all the things, and push it so that they can choose to let other people use it. I don't know. It's hard to know with things like that. At the point I've changed enough to call it my own. Anyway, that's the end of the stream. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you all next time.